You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
It's time for the Dragon Con Report, your go-to show for both newbies and seasoned pros gearing up for the annual Downtown Atlanta Convention, with interviews, expert advice, and all the latest updates straight from the dragon's mouth and fans themselves. Stay tuned, you might just uncover something unexpected.
Howdy, and welcome to the first episode of the 2025 Dragon Con Report. It's a new year. Dragon Con is less than 9 months away. We begin our 14th season of con coverage. We hope to give you all at least one good thing you can count on all year long. I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and I'm pleased to introduce you to the rest of our station crew. Sadly, Jen is here, but she's under the weather, but she's here in spirit, and she's helping us out a little bit technically behind the scenes, so thank you very much, Jen. But Channing is here. He's returned for another go.
They keep letting me back in. I don't know how. I'm not saying there might be some blackmail involved, but there might be some blackmail involved.
Well, we're glad to have you back, sir.
Yes. Glad to be back. Greetings from an unseasonably cold Louisiana. As you can see, I've got my tauntaun in the back. We are ready for old man winter.
I mean, this year already, it's only been about a couple weeks in, and we've got fires and snowstorms and all this kind of crazy weather, and it's just crazy out there. So wherever you guys are, I hope you guys are safe and doing pretty well. And like I said, we hope to give you something good that you can count on all year round. Because Dragon Con will be here before we know it.
Yes, and that's what we're about. That is what we're about. Good times are coming, folks. Good times are coming.
Absolutely. We're also pleased to be joined once again by Sven of the Drunken Dragon Hotel.
Hey, friends. How you doing?
Hey, there he is. Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's cold here in Atlanta.
It is cold in Atlanta. That's crazy, isn't it?
Blame this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's out there somewhere.
And joining us for the first time is author, podcaster, and RPG designer Bob McGough.
Hi, guys.
Howdy,
Hey,
Bob. How's it
Bob.
going?
Hey.
Just fat and sassy.
Now, you are a redneck wizard, so can you do something about this weather? Do you have some spell slots you can use?
Look, Alabama, where I'm at, we're so unprepared for the cold that, it's the stereotypical grocery stores. There's no bread on the shelves,
Right.
milk. The people who don't even drink milk are stocking up on milk, So no, my spell slots are frozen. We are woefully unprepared for this weather.
Now, we've got you beat there. We're in Louisiana, so everything that's needed to make a gumbo is what's sold out of stores here. So chicken, sausage, right? Yeah, all that. Good luck finding any. You guys can have your bread and milk. We're good.
I was actually just in New Orleans last weekend, and it was pretty cold, but not this cold.
Right.
So, Bob, just to get to know you a little bit before we start in with some of the news that we have, how long have you been going to Dragon Con?
2013 was my first year, and I haven't missed it since then. So
nice.
it's my favorite weekend of the year. So
yes, well, you're in good company. We are definitely fans here, of course.
Yeah.
How did you first experience Dragon Con? When did you first hear about it? What was that first one like for you?
So I am from way backwoods Alabama. I'm from the county in Alabama with the most dirt roads of any county, and shockingly, as far back as high school, which for me would have been right around like 2000 or so, me and my best friend were already talking about, man, really want to go to Dragon Con, and just being a poor guy who's just kind of bad at adulting for most of his adult life, could never really get the pieces together. And then I had the good luck at the time to start dating a woman who had been for the past few years, and she kind of showed me the ropes, gave me a a hotel room to crash in that first year, and it's been off to the races ever since.
Wow. And what are some of the highlights for you? What brings you back at Dragon Con? What do you experience? What do you like to experience there?
Early on, it was all of the writing panels. I did like all of the Michael Stackpole workshops. Like every year for probably my first 5 or 6 years, I would do at least 2 or 3 of his workshops. Really learned a lot there, and the writing track was kind of my main draw. But as time has gone by, I have shifted. Now the science track is typically the one where I find the most panels that catch my eye. And then the Palmetto Nights. Me and my group, I've had the same group that we've been going together for most of my Dragon Conning. The Palmetto Nights are the one thing that we all pretty much agree that we can't miss. So Saturday mornings we go watch folks in armor wail on each other.
That is so
I've
cool.
seen video that it looks like a lot of fun. I've tried to go the last 2 years, and I've always had conflicts, but that is definitely on my list for this year. I mean, it's people beating each other with swords and what do they call them, morning stars and everything else. So yes, good clean
And
fun for the family.
yeah, and you always think that it's going to be hard to get in there because whenever you show up, there's always a line. But because it is kind of one of those things that goes on for so long, people are constantly coming and going. So I've never had to wait very long in line to get in. And it's just, and they also, one of my favorites is they usually, the group that puts it on has a shirt for sale that is some kind of riff on D&D book covers. So like the the old AD&D or like a Pathfinder book cover, but instead
Yeah.
it's based on their organization. So always try and pick up one of those if they have one in a size portly. So
I'm familiar with that size. I appreciate that size. And where does that take place? Because I've heard about it, but I've never been able to locate it, or I don't know much about it, to be honest with you.
It is in the big ballroom in the. It's not the Sheraton. What is the Sheraton called now?
Oh, the Cortland Grand.
Cortland Grand. Yes, I believe it's in the Cortland. If memory serves, it's the big space in the Cortland, and it's one of those. It's such a big space, but they have monitors up, so even if you're sitting towards the back, they have large monitors kind of facing in all directions. So, but it's. I've never been there for all of it. I've only come in for bits and pieces. But essentially, they run like little tournaments throughout, or they will have. All right, this is the 2v2 bracket, and then now it's the one-handed weapons. Now it's the sword and board, and they just kind of keep it balanced. They have a women's division. There's a lot going on there. And it's so crazy to me that you can sit just a few feet away from people with swords, literally knocking the heck out of each other. And it's perfectly safe. I mean, it's not safe for them, I assume. I'm sure they get all manner of concussions, but as an attendee, it's perfectly safe.
They're black and blue afterwards, right?
Oh, I bet. I can't imagine. I wouldn't need a size portly if I did that. I'd probably be approaching a shape other than round.
Right.
Hey, Sven, what would it take to get some Drunken Dragon chainmail armor made in time? I feel like there might be maybe just a shield.
A shield I can make you. I was actually going to make one, but it's a coin size. So
said, there might be something there.
Yeah. Oh my God. That would be like Drunken Dragon Hotel 1500s. That probably would have the stuff out of that. Yeah. No,
and which just remind me, which number of Dragon Con would this be for you?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. It's like I think it's number 10.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are kind of about even then, right? So
yeah.
So that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well,
Yeah, I was living here since 15 years, or no, like 17 years, and no one told me about the first 7 years. And then someone, my brother-in-law, showed it to me.
Keep it secret from Sven.
Yeah,
Right.
What is going on here? That's totally my thing. Get out of the way. And then we got a hotel room, and yeah, we had so much fun. And now it's like every time, yeah, really cool.
That's funny.
Well, we are very glad to have you both join us. We're going to talk about what we hope to see maybe this year, a little bit later. Actually, just in a little bit, because we don't have a lot of news, but do have to get rid of some business first and let everybody know who's watching us and listening to us. First of all, thank you. And secondly of all, the Dragon Con Report is an unofficial podcast of the con. We are not, never have been officially connected with Dragon Con. For all official news, we strongly recommend checking out the official website and their social media outlets. We are a proud member of the ESO Network. On the esonetwork.com page, there's a direct link to our TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool swag, including a very cool design for the Dragon Con Report podcast, the t-shirt. That's it right there, man. Thank you, Sven. We got our own model. The ESO Network also has a Patreon page where supporters can access our exclusive reading of this month's Dragon Con guest announcements. Yes, there have been a few. So we will have that posted shortwith, and you can access that if you are a patron. Thank you, patrons, for all your support. In addition to the video cast on Facebook and YouTube, the audio version of our show is still available at all the usual places. You can always access our past episodes over the last 13 years, the last 13 seasons at DragonConReport.com. However you access our show, please like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. Leave us direct feedback or comment on the show. Please feel free to email us at feedback@DragonConReport.com. And we're available on Facebook, Instagram, and I think that's it at this point. I don't think we have Blue Sky or anything else going on right now. So, but we're looking into those.
As far we're going to go back to MySpace.
We're going to go back to MySpace. We're going to taking it back.
Yeah, you go. Get the glitter sprinkles.
Exactly. As far as the news goes, like I said, not a lot. For those people who are not familiar, Dragon Con this year will be August 28th through September 1st. That is Labor Day weekend. 5-day memberships are now at $140, which still I think is a bargain. Eternal memberships are $4,500. That could be a bargain, depending, what your definition of eternal is.
It's one Taylor Swift ticket.
Exactly. I mean, if you're young enough, that could work out.
Yeah.
Now open until May 31st. Guest, attending pro, and performer applications all open. So if you want to participate as a guest, attending pro, performer, you could do so now. Get in your applications ASAP because you don't want to take it for granted. Applications for the vendors and art show and the parade will open sometime in February, we think. The dates on the website are in February, but I think that's based on dates from last year that they have on the website. So I don't want to quote those specifically, but you might want to look at those if you're interested in vending or participating in the art show. Keep an eye on that. And volunteers, they are accepting volunteer applications right now. The first volunteer meeting, both virtual and in person, will be on March 22nd at the Marriott Marquis, and there's going to be one in July as well, July 20th. So far, they have announced, at least as far as the website goes, 61 guests, though 12 of which are featured, 193 professionals, and 0 performers so far on the website. So right now, there's already... that's more than a lot of cons do have announced already, like in their whole entire run of their con, right? So this is, and some of the featured ones are pretty still impressive, but you can find out about all of them at our Patreon because Channing and I will do our best to not to butcher the names too bad. But I did want to make the announcement here before anywhere else that once again I've been accepted as a guest, and I'm very happy to be pleased to be returning to Dragon Con, and I will be located in the Comics and Pop Artist Alley with a table there. And I believe there's somebody else here who is going to be attending Dragon Con as a professional, Bob? Is that right?
I am, yes. This is my second year as an attending pro.
Congratulations.
Okay. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, there's a few years of applying, I would say not fruitlessly. It was
No.
somewhat fruitlessly in that I felt like I hadn't really paid my dues. But you don't. What is it? You don't make any of the shots you don't take, or
Right.
there's some quote there. So I'm a big fan of just I'll just ask to get in on anything, and
Sure.
you never know what opportunity will come. So I applied for a few years, honestly, before I was ready. And
Right.
so it was for the best that I did not get accepted as an attending pro, I would argue. There is clearly some people with good judgment on the other end of that form. And but I've been even before this is my second year as an attending pro, but my first year I had a year where I considered myself an attending foe, where I was not an attending, but I still wound up doing 6 or 7 panels.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's FAUX, not FOE, right? Like that you weren't a foe of Dragon Con, right?
Well, yes.
Right, correct.
He was starting
yes.
fights at other panels.
Exactly. Well, excellent. When was your first? When did you do your first panel at Dragon Con? Was that shortly thereafter you started going, or getting involved?
I did my first panel 3 years ago. Nancy Knight, who was the writing track director,
Sure.
very, very kind. She's given so many of us authors our first break at Dragon, and I just went in on Thursday and said, "Hey, look, I know you don't know me, but there's this one panel. I think I could be a good fit for this. If you have, if someone doesn't show up, or just you feel like taking pity on me." And she said, "Sure, I'll just write you down." And she wrote me down, and I parlayed that into the following year, saying, "Hey, I was a panelist for Nancy Knight over here. What do you think, Tabletop
you go.
Track? Would you let me be on a panel for y'all? And hey, digital media, I've been a panelist before.
See,
What do you think?" And so
that's how it starts.
that became, so that became 6 panels, and then after that, I was an attending.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty soon now you'll be doing double digit. That's how it goes. I mean, that's you start doing them, and all of a sudden snowballs, and next thing you know, you're on 15 panels at Dragon Con. So.
Next thing you know, you're sprinting from the Westin to the Hilton at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday. Not that I have any experience with that.
Oh yeah, that was me this past year. I had two times I went Westin Hilton on panels last year, and I'll be frank, I'm too fat for all that. The Atlanta heat, luckily it was downhill. If it had been coming the other way,
yeah, yeah,
I'd have been so damp with sweat by the time I got there. I don't know they would let me sit down. So, but no, it's been a lot of fun, and it's kind of I'm kind of sort of. I mean, I'm sure y'all are familiar with John Hartness. I'm kind of like John Hartness light. A little, still pretty redneck, fractionally less crass. And I know that they end up having to put in what they call the Hartness rule for doing. You can't do above X number of panels. So I'm trying to head that way. I'm trying to follow in his equally redneckish, tracks.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Sven, are you going to be there in a vendor capacity again this year? You think?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah. I got last year. I had a very good spot last year, and I got the same spot again. So we're gonna have. I wanted to have a bigger space, but it's not available in the end corner there where I was.
Mm-hmm.
So we make it work. We have a very good team. I have super nice people working with me during the convention, and it's gonna be a lot of fun again. It's slowly growing on me. I always was thinking I'm missing out on Dragon Con when I'm there, but when you're there, you can actually talk. My workers push me from the table away and say, "We don't want you here. Just stand there, talk to people. They want to like sell things and talk to people as well." And so, yeah, it's good. Yeah, we're going back there to the panel to the America's Mart. Yeah.
Excellent.
And this will be my third year in the vendor hall also.
Oh, okay.
Me and it's not my booth. It's Side Street Book Market. I'm one of the authors that buys in on that. So this will be year 3 of selling some books in between panels.
So you'll be able to find all 3 of us at America's Mart.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll be on different floors.
I think I was on the second floor, and there's like a book selling stand right next to me as well, like a pretty big one actually.
We're on 3.
Okay.
So yeah.
So 2, 3, 4. Right there we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just mapped out everyone's vendor hall experience right there. I mean, what more do you really need? Just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, it's a very good time there. It's a little stressful to break it down and move out, and sometimes takes hours and hours. But besides that, it's a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of good people. And yeah, that's really cool. I'm bringing this year, instead of a vending machine, and I think 2 years ago I brought a vending machine. This year I'm going to bring a capsule station, like from Japan. I bought like a few of those. Were like those balls you can open up, and there's like something in it. So you like throw like a token in it, and then like a ball comes out with a random gift inside of it or product. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be the new feature for the booth. Yeah.
Wow, you must. Yeah, I mean, you plan, like, when do you start planning? For
January 1st, that's when I start. I'm working on so many things right now. I have like a long list here right now of things I'm doing, designing, cosplays, Star Trek uniforms with carpet pattern. What else would I do right now? Yeah, like so much stuff. Oh yeah, I'm making also a D&D stuff. I started playing D&D. I think I played 5 times now, and yeah, so I'm making a D&D dice, and it's like really, really cool.
Nice.
It's like, yeah. Don't want to say yet what it is, but yeah, it's really cool.
Sure.
Yeah. And I'm working on a dice tower. It looks like the Marriott, and you can throw in the dice on the top, and it goes down into the pool with the dice.
Wow.
Okay, I kind of want that. I kind of want that now. I just send me the prototype. Just go ahead.
I don't think I can print so many. I think I'm going to print a few, and then I'm going to put it there. You can print it out yourself.
Yeah. But the one thing I always do in the vendor hall is go by the Chessex booth and get that year's Dragon Con dice. Yep. So now it sounds like I have 2 stops.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. One more news item, I think, right, Jenning? You are muted.
I am now unmuted. So yes, there is one more thing to go. Hey, it's the first show back, everybody.
I know.
This just lets people know that Dragon Con volunteers, congoers, family are all great. The Dragon Con Superheroes event for February 2nd, they were completely overwhelmed by the response, and it has been filled to capacity. They've been more than 160 donations, and they have enough supplies to make almost 1,000 kits. So again, this is just a great example of Dragon Con and Dragon Con's extended family giving back. So props to all you guys who participated and who helped out. Yeah, all of the true heroes. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we'll try to report on when the next one is going to happen as well once we find out. But also, you can find out more information about that by going to Dragon Con's website and just clicking on superheroes and find out more about that program. So, and they are doing everything they can for this year's charity. So that's really cool. That is very cool that they get that much response, especially in this day and age, right? So and that's really all the news because there really hasn't been any major announcements regarding Dragon Con just yet. But we're going to have some fun talking about what we'd like to see. And we're going to do that in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break for those people who are listening to us on the podcast. For those people who are watching us, we're just going to have a little moment of silence. And we're back. And we are trying to talk all about what we want to see in 2025. First of all, it still sounds weird for me to say 2025.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like
Yeah.
it sounds like the future. It sounds like a number that I would see like, well, yeah, on Blade Runner or something like that. It's 2025. But like Cleopatra 2025, right?
Yes.
It says that ring to it. But there's obviously guests and all kinds of fun things that we can predict that may happen or may not happen. There's a lot of things that are exciting that could possibly happen at Dragon Con this year. I'm kind of curious. I guess we'll go first to Bob since he's our new guy here. Is there anything in particular that you would like to see this year at Dragon Con?
So my comic book hero of sorts, I guess my favorite comic book artist is Ben Templesmith, and he was a guest a few years ago, and I just love. I'm currently working on collecting everything that he has done art for, and I was not quite at that level of fandom when he was there last time. So if this was a year he chose to come back to Dragon Con, that'd be real cool. I've got a lot of stuff that he could sign.
Absolutely.
But building on that, I'd also one of his collaborators he's done a lot with is Steve Niles. 30 Days of Night. They did that together, and a few other things. And so I have not had a chance to ever get to meet him. So if I did get to briefly meet Ben Templesmith, and I attended a panel that he was on. And so if the two of them were going to be there and they just did a panel on Criminal Macabre or 30 Days of Night or something like that, there would be one very happy Bob in the crowd.
Yeah.
Knowing my luck, I would be, of course, scheduled a panel to be on opposite that. That's just how my luck runs. But I would go track him down in the comic alley or the like. So
I know that Steve Niles has been to Dragon Con before, and I will say, unfortunately, I think that was at a time before the comics track really got organized very well. I don't think he had the best experience. So my understanding is that it would be very difficult to get him back. But I think things have changed enough that I think if he came back, he would find it's a much better experience than it has been in the previous time. So I'm hoping that we can lure him back at some point because I'm a fan of his as well. So I did get a chance to talk to him. I've talked to him at other cons as well. And same thing with Ben as well. Mostly Heroes, I think, up in Charlotte. But it would be nice to get those guys back again. On the subject of, I guess, well, that's a great way to, start with guests and everything. And, before we go to someone else, we did throw this out there to the social medias. And there were a lot of ideas for guests. Our good friend Michael Faulkner said that he wants Christopher Eggleston to be here. Tara Lynn said she wants some Red Dead Redemption guests. Van Allen Plexico listed Dan Abnett, Graham McNeil, Blake Crouch, and David Goyer. James Palmer wants Bruce Campbell, who I think is a mainstay. Like I think everybody, like Bruce Campbell, should have an open invitation to just come whenever he wants.
He's in everybody's top Briggs,
5. Stacey Haydock and Eddie Deason. So there's some interesting, so a lot of interesting names thrown about there.
I'm a big Dan Abnett fan. Both his, comics that he's done, but also I'm a big Gaunt's Ghost fan. Probably my earliest fandom was Warhammer, especially 40K. And so his Gaunt's Ghost books and the Eisenhorn books are, to me, the pinnacle of Black Library writing. So if he was there, that'd be real cool. So, and that figures that I know Van a little bit, and he's got a series. He's got a kind of a trilogy that is that sort of grim, dark sci-fi that if you're a fan of the 40K universe, you would really like it. It was I picked it up 2 years ago, I think it was, the Shattering Omnibus. It had all 3 books in
Yes.
it, and it was real good.
Really
So,
good. Really
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Somebody in the feed just dropped in the cast of Interview with the Vampire, which that would be big on just about any track. So yeah, good one. Thank you, Fandom Hybrid. We appreciate that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that show, I don't know if I think it's so underrated. I don't know why more people aren't talking about that show, but it's outstanding. I think since it got onto Netflix, I think it got a few more people checking it out. At least the first season. Second season is great as well. So hopefully they can bring some of those folks in. Channing, do you have any guests that are sort of dream guests for you personally, or?
I'm gonna skip the obvious one that I say every year, but I'm gonna go with a different pool. The cast of Eureka. That show, I think they're about to, I think either this year or next year will be 20 years, the 20-year anniversary. I would love to see that cast come back. They were at one maybe '08, '09, somewhere in that range, and they're just a really fun group of people. And that show was fun for science nerds and honestly just a good show in general. I'd love to see what a lot of them are still doing. A lot of them are still working, but a lot of them were also Canadian actors and actresses, so you don't really see them in a lot more, but they're still working. So yeah, I'd love to see just as many of the cast members from Eureka as you could get to come back.
They Dragon Con, I think, is really good, especially since it's for the fans, by the fans, at doing these reunion groups, having groups of people come from last year. They had some people, some of the cast from Roswell there, the original Roswell show that was on the CW, as well as they've done that with other ways as well. We've got some anniversaries coming up this year, folks. We've got the 50th anniversary of Jaws, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So let's get John Cleese back. Let's get Eric Idle here. He's the only one of the Python members I've never personally met, so I want to click that box off. So that's my personal wish list.
Yeah.
Let's get him. And it's also the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future, The Goonies, Breakfast Club, Teen Wolf, that kind of thing. 20th anniversary of Batman Begins. We've got some anniversaries, right? So we can get some of these people back to talk about their experience doing those shows, those movies. That would be pretty incredible.
I had a somewhat surreal experience. I was a vendor at a con recently, and Michael J. Fox got the Presidential Medal of Honor on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, and then on Friday and Saturday he was at this con signing autographs. And that to me was just like, what timeline am I living in?
He has a DeLorean, so he.
Yeah.
Once it goes, what is it, 88 miles an hour, right? Then anything's
hit
possible.
That wire at just the right time.
Someone posted a Eureka Warehouse 13 combo would be great. I mean, we get Warehouse 13 represented a lot with Eddie McClintock, usually at Dragon Con. So you've got part of that matchup right there. So
I don't condone violence, but I would fight to get in front of the line for that panel. I really would, because I enjoyed those shows.
I think McClintock is just so good on panels.
Yeah.
My wife is a huge Warehouse 13 fan, and it was the first year back from COVID, and so Eddie likes to wander and go and hug people in the crowd and whatnot. And it was kind of, a little bit verboten. We all had to wear masks and whatnot. But he was if people were okay with it, he would give them a hug. And my wife was the next question, and she didn't just ran out of time, so she didn't get her hug.
Oh.
And so when we got home, he has a cameo, so I bought a cameo of from him to her and told him the story, and he's like, look, next year come find me, I got a hug waiting on her. So he's just a cool dude.
Now, Sven, I know you hang around with celebrities all the time. You and I know, you and Jason Momoa are close,
Oh
right?
yeah, there we go. Yeah. He took a selfie with me. It's like that's okay. Usually I say no photos,
They're
please.
workout buddies. They're
No
workout
photos,
buddies.
please. But yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that was cool.
believe. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Jason Momoa used to be on a Stargate show, right? Is that correct? Was he? Because I feel like he's.
Yes.
I feel like he's come to Dragon Con before, so it wouldn't be out unheard of for him to come back. I think.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that, or am I kind of confused with someone else? But
I think Momoa. That was like early Momoa. He did Stargate Atlantis, and
there you go.
now that's another one. I feel like there are some guests I almost wonder if they'd be too much for Dragon Con, because I can just imagine a line for Jason Momoa extending down Peachtree, all the way to College Park, probably.
He was Ronan Dex on Stargate Atlantis.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was really cool to meet him.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really cool to meet him. He used to live like here in Atlanta down the street from me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He seems like he's pretty much a low-key, down-to-earth guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very.
So, and Sven, do you do anything with this, like Celebrities Walk of Fame or anything like that? Or does that interest you with panels like at Dragon Con at all?
I gave up on it. It is always on my agenda. Then when the app comes out, I'm like doing all the things. I just don't have. The last 3 years, I have not went to maybe one panel or two panels, but
sure.
I'm like, I just cut that. And then there's a long line, and I'm already worked all day. It's like I'm not going to stand in a line. So I just want to walk around and see 1,000 people I know and my friends, and maybe go to some wrestling, but I usually miss that too because that's colliding, I think, with Tiki Nai or something at Trader Vic's, and usually just walking around and
Well, you mentioned wrestling, so I have to put this out there that this year in 2025. I think we've got to see the Mongoose come back and save DCW. That has to be a thing. That has to be a thing. We'll see if we can try to work with the powers that be at DCW to make that happen. Because
I did talk to the Mongoose over the break. He's actually overseas training right now. He's been down in Puerto Rico wrestling in the leagues there. He might hit Japan, do some AAA, and he also did some time in the Antarctic Wrestling League, which, it's small, but it's really tough competition, wrestling polar bears and things. But, we'll have to see about bringing him back this year.
Absolutely. Any other sort of guests or announcements or panel ideas that you guys can think of that would be good to have for this year's celebrating at this year's Dragon Con?
I'll say this is totally selfish of just me, and I know other people would enjoy it, but Glenn Cook is the Black Company is my all-time favorite fantasy series. He's a huge influence on me. I've never got to meet him. I understand that he doesn't really do many cons outside of the St. Louis area where he lives, but if he's got new Black Company books coming out, the first new Black Company book in years is coming out this year, and I think around the time of Dragon. So if he wanted, if they wanted to bring him out to, do a little book launch event or something like that, there'd be one giddy little schoolboy in line waiting to say hello.
I'm also interested in non-celebrities showing up. I say non-celebrities just because they're not on TV, but they're experts in their field. I'm big in the STEM and getting more women in STEM. And there's a woman named Dr. Moega Cooper. She was on a short-lived reality show called King of the Nerds. She worked at NASA, and now she's at JPL Propulsion Lab. She's basically a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
She's got a really good personality. She's done some bits on YouTube that are really nice. I think she'd be a good addition. And in that same vein, and my wife is probably going to kill me for this one, there is a pageant contestant. She's Miss Ireland, and I think she made it all the way to Miss Universe. She's a rocket scientist working at NASA and also a beauty pageant winner. So,
Okay.
I'd be down for that, some extra representation there. And the fact that one of them is a pageant queen has no bearing on my decisions whatsoever.
No, not at
No,
all.
My
no.
my wife is a nurse practitioner and rabid Stargate fan. And last year on the science track, they had a panel. It was like on the medicine of Stargate, and she was like, "Oh my God, I'd be so perfect for that panel." I was like, "Oh my God, you would be. Go ask if you can be on it." And she, no, I couldn't. It's like, I will ask for you if you will let me. No, no. But at least once a month since then, there's been some. I would have been good on that panel. It's like, yes, you would have. So, anyone on the science track, if you're doing anything about nerdy medicine, hit me up. My wife would be a great fit for whatever you're doing, I'm sure. So,
Well,
Shoot your shot, man. Shoot your shot.
speaking of
yeah.
Stargate, Jen has reached out to slap my wrist for being a bad nerd for not knowing that Jason Momoa is in Atlantis. But she also has the following guest wish announcements or guest wishes that she would like LeVar Burton to come and do a Reading Rainbow or run a Jeopardy panel show would be fun. Also, and I hope I pronounce this correctly. Horiyuki Sanada. Is that I'm gonna get slapped again for being a bad nerd or being a bad pronouncer. But also Mila Jovovich, and she's always she'll Mila the zombie killer. Yeah, she's always
Hmm.
welcome. And Winona Ryder, who seems like big, but it's funny because at one time I do remember there did seem to be a ceiling at Dragon Con. Like, whoa, that person's too big for Dragon Con. Oh, they'd never come to Dragon Con. They're too big for Dragon Con.
But
I don't
now,
feel like in the last maybe 10 years that's been the case. I don't feel like anybody is too big to be a Dragon Con.
No.
no. I think one of the big reasons I've always heard for why we don't get a lot of big stars is because when Dragon Con happens, there's still a lot of shows that are actively shooting and movies. But yeah, as far as a ceiling, I don't think there is one. I mean, we've seen some big names pop up every now and then. But again, I will say there are people I wonder if they are too big for Dragon Con. I made this joke last year. If the cast of the Avengers showed up at Dragon Con, like that whole little 5 or 6 block radius would just be done. There's nothing else that's going to be able to go on.
Yeah. Yeah. We just got a comment, Robert Downey Jr. and that alone would
Hmm.
probably cause traffic problems.
Yeah,
Huge traffic problems.
Robert
yeah.
Downey Jr. lived in my building when I was living on the Boutline. He was living
Wow.
basically upstairs from me. You see him in the
You
morning
just know everybody.
when you sit with your coffee in the elevator. It's like, hey, good morning, you. Tony Stark. That was Tony
You were
Stark in the
going.
elevator.
Were you going Downey the elevator?
Yeah.
Ah, see what you did there. Oh,
Mm.
we got another. Yeah, the voice cast from Arcane and Castlevania.
Mhm.
There are some great voice actors who are really good interviews and just have great personalities. And yeah, those might be some. I feel like that would be a good one. And they just have so many backstage behind the scenes stories.
I think we could just save everybody like some hassle and just make where Sven lives is building one of the Dragon Con like host places. Therefore,
Right.
we'd have a bunch of guests right there, like who live
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we just
Yep.
catch them.
Sounds
Yeah.
like.
That would make things so much easier.
I'm interviewing
Uh,
Robert Downey Jr. at his mailbox.
I mean, I'm not endorsing kidnapping, but I'm just saying that we could have a fake Uber that parked outside and just drop them off in a panel room. I'm just saying.
that would be cool.
Yeah. Take him to SOS.
As far as for the other aspects of the con, we did get some feedback, a little bit of feedback on that too. In fact, Jennifer said that she wished that there was a chill zone area like she used to see at PAX events. Something comfy chairs, beanbags, pillows, sort of quiet like a library, a place to calm down from all the overstimulation instead of having to go all the way back up to your room.
Yeah.
So that logistically, I know that would be difficult because Dragon Con is like busy. Almost every aspect of it is
Hmm.
busy, full of people, especially the more people that they get. And I would not be surprised if they, do not hit 80,000 again this year, which they did pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
I perfectly think that they're capable of doing
Oh yeah.
it.
Yeah. That was kind of a sweet spot.
But a dedicated space like that would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
I get that.
I've been at some smaller cons that have had those, but they're smaller cons, and they don't have typically as much going on. But any con I've been at, you never see a ton of people using it, but the people who do use it, it's an absolute lifesaver for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, there are
Um,
a lot of people. That's just one way. And I think on a similar note, she was saying a dedicated space in each hotel for disabled folks to use and get their stickers and get assistance. Besides just I guess
Right.
they have areas in the Cortland and the Marriott for that. So
yeah, a single spot.
I guess more attention could be dedicated for that. She also says that she wishes Show Enough Karaoke could return to either the Hilton lobby or bottom floor instead of being stuck upstairs at the terrace.
It is a mess trying to get to it. When karaoke was down in the Hilton, I think I did it every year, and I haven't been able to get up there since they moved to the terrace. Those elevators, man.
The Hilton elevators, I stayed there last year. The Hilton elevators were like the best elevators. The way they had it going on last year, I have no complaints
They
about.
did have a good
In
system
fact,
last year.
There's
that would be
security
my
there, right?
that
The
would be
security
my
was
wish
watching the
list.
doors.
I'm sorry.
They
The security was watching the doors that not everybody runs in, so they
Well,
were.
they had attendance
Yeah.
at each elevator
Yeah.
during most of the time. They had attendance on each elevator, and it just worked out beautifully. On my wish list this year would be for all the hotels to have elevator attendance because it's so much more organized.
Mhm.
You don't get the whole, will they or won't they let some people that should be in, wheelchair
Yeah.
people on or not. You don't have to have that fight because you have someone in somewhat authority just going, yeah, get out.
Right.
like this person needs to get on. And it just was a lot smoother. And oddly enough, I think the only reason my understanding is that the Hilton only did that last year because they had some issues with the elevators and they had problems with it. So they wanted to make sure that things were smooth. So they had people actually attending, the pushing the buttons and helping people out and
Yeah.
everything like that. But it ended up working out really, really well. And
Yeah.
I would love to see that implemented in all the host hotels.
Yeah. Now,
the
what I
Westin
like.
does it on Thursdays. They do
Okay.
that when people are trying to get to their rooms.
Oh,
But
right.
after that, it's shank or be shanked. It's so.
Speaking of the hotels, I know this is wishful thinking, but I have to put it in the universe. I wouldn't mind some less expensive food options in the
Yeah.
hotels. I
Yeah.
get it, they gotta make a profit, but $15 for a pizza that was like this size around had maybe you got 4 slices out of it.
And it was
I
not
think
very good neither.
right. The hamburger was also $15. And again, I get it, they gotta make their money, but I know I did a lot of panels too last year and like, okay, crap, I need something quick to eat right now. And I can only eat so many granola bars that I bring with me. So yeah, they got me a few times. So yeah, I wouldn't mind if they could find a way to come up with some more affordable options for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna make their money,
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think, I do enough, one-day shows or, conventions, even smaller ones, but that's just hotel policy.
Yeah.
Hotel food is going to cost you way more than anything else. And usually it's not going to be much better than
Right.
anything else. I mean, it's convenience. they are
Yeah.
overcharging for convenience, and
Yeah.
I do. It's just I'm glad that Dragon Con has so many different options.
Con
available.
Suite.
Yeah, they have tons of options.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to get that there. So
Right. No, I'm with it. And I see somebody mentioned crock pots in the room. I'm gonna
Mhm.
beat that. I'm gonna start bringing a George Foreman grill to every panel I'm on. I'm just gonna have the grill with me.
To talk my wife out of packing our air fryer, she was legit like we never fight, and this was about as close as it came. That I was like, we are not taking an air fryer to Dragon Con. It'd be so good though. She had a compelling argument, I'll admit. But I was like, we have to carry it in, we have to carry it out, we have to get it on and off elevators. No.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah, people bring microwaves.
Yeah.
But I also
sure.
have I brought those self-heating rice dishes. So you just pull a tab and then they self-heat, and there's like some vegetables in it with rice. I mean, if you're like late night or in the morning when you have to run to America's Mart, you have to eat something. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of America's Mart, we did get another response that was pretty critical, but bottom line was limiting sales so the convention can function well. They had bad experiences last year with 3-hour waits for America's Mart, high volume events with hours-long waits to get into panels, et cetera, et cetera. I will say that America's Mart, and you guys, Bob and Sven, let me know what your thoughts are on this too. But it does seem like there's some things that can be worked on with that process, because there are a lot of times where there's high volume, and they, the fire marshal shuts the door or won't let any more people in, and yet it doesn't feel like there's that many people actually shopping.
No, exactly. It was a big
Right.
disaster last year. No, 2 years ago. Yeah, we were standing
Yeah,
there
2
with
years
like
ago.
5 people, and no one was there, and no one came by there. I guess, had like 3 exits, but only one entrance, and then they were standing at one exit and were counting the people who walked out, but they didn't count all the other ways how people can leave the building. So everything was empty, and that was not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I how our booth operates is each author who buys in gets a fixed number of hours in the booth, and you sign up for what hours. And I had picked basically the first 2 hours of every day, so that I could go do my panels after. And that Saturday, when the fire marshal closed it down, it was during my 2 hours, and I was like, where are all the people? Because pretty much any author that's in the booth, you make over half of your sales while you're in the booth,
Yeah.
by far. Like, you being in the booth, you'll sell far more than just having your books. We have signing space and then a bookstore space. And sure, people will buy your book off the shelf, but if you're there to pitch no one sells your book better than you do. And so for a fourth of my selling hours, to have a fraction of the people walking by, that was not ideal. But
No.
I mean, I get it, but
Yeah.
I would say that I think there needs to be an element of grace that needs to go to them.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm friends with a woman who is involved with the disability services, and she runs the social media for that. And she caught so much hate that weekend because my understanding is basically America's Mart changed last minute how people with disabilities were going to be allowed in, and that wasn't communicated well. And you got to understand, these people, these volunteers, they don't do this year round. It's not like these people get to practice this week after week after week. It's, oh wow, they just changed the rules on us. Now we have to implement it, and we have to communicate it, and not everyone pays attention. And so yes, I get that wait is not ideal, but also keep in mind that the volunteers are volunteers, and
Yes.
lashing out at them for something that they have no
They don't
control over
control.
is not the move.
No.
Yeah,
it's-
it is crazy. I think, the best thing advice I can give, because you don't know what the situation is going to be exactly or what's going to change, but I'd say that if you do intend on going to the vendor hall, try to make that on a day like Sunday or Monday, because Saturday is just that's the peak day. So you're going to be fighting with everybody on Saturday to check out that area. So if there's other things that you can do on Saturday, do those. And then, because Monday usually is just walk on in. There's not usually a wait to get on Monday.
But then it's like a lot of things are sold out and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
That's sort of what you have to deal with.
Absolutely.
And I've been there on Mondays where some booths had already packed up.
We're there's the joke. I'm going to put joke in quotes there, that the con starts on Tuesdays. The cards, and we've got panels now, officially things starting on Thursday. How do you guys? Would you guys be okay with the vendor hall opening on Thursday?
I would.
Yeah,
I would,
totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
I spread it out.
Ask someone who's trying to make money if they want another day to make money. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Right.
And if it relieved a little bit of the pressure on the other days, so
Yes, that's what I was
that
thinking.
you can actually talk to people and engage with them, and they don't feel like they're being just moving, caught up in the wave. I'd be down. I mean, the past 2 years we've been shifting to coming in on Wednesdays now, even though we don't sell on Thursday, because Thursday was the new Friday, and now Wednesday's the new Friday.
I mean, things I'm seeing, there's just there's tons of people there on Tuesday and Wednesday already. So
I'll say most people I know, they go to they might go to the vendor area once, maybe twice sometimes. They go, they get what they want, then they're doing other things. Like you said, give them an extra day, relieve some of that pressure. Yeah, that'll be a big benefit for people.
Right. And it just allows a little bit more breathing room, and because if they're going to have more people there, I don't mind having more people there, because the more people they get, the more opportunities I have to sell something, right? I mean, that's just and that's just not Dragon Con making money. That's all of us making money. And Dragon Con isn't all about making money for me, but it's a good component of it.
No.
And it's a very nice thing. Plus, I'd be lucky to break even. Because Dragon Con is my best sales show of the year, but it's also my most expensive show of the year. So,
my stuff is so unique. It's only made for Dragon. It's like, people are like, why you don't go to other conventions?
Yes, man.
Because people are like, what is all that stuff? It's like,
right.
What is that sweater here? It's like, what is all that stuff? We don't know. I only can sell it in those 5 days at Dragon Con, or 4 days.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Mike, thank you for making the controversial stance of it's okay to make money. Yes.
Well,
you don't have to make all of it, but it's okay to make some.
I don't want all of it. I just want enough to sort of, do my thing.
Right.
Have a good show.
Live.
Exactly.
Live. Yes, please let me live.
Well, that's important.
All right, Channing, you got one more to close us out?
Actually, I'm going to cheat. I've got 2 more. One, I'd like to see more of a variety in musical acts. I don't just mean the music that the DJs play, but just live performers. We've got our Dragon Con regulars, and I love them, but I wouldn't mind cycling some new blood in, especially some who do like either kind of nerdcore rap, or just ones who do kind of more, I don't want to say who more comedy based. There's a performer, Roxy Hayes. She's a stand-up comedian, but she also does music and some things. I think she'd be great. And my other one, and this one is another one that might get me in trouble with my wife. I want to see a few more of the after-hours late night panels pop back up. I've had a lot of fun at those, and I'm by no means asking for Dragon Con strip club, but Yeah, some of the spicier stuff, the fan fiction, breaking down some of the weirder anime, and I know they do some of that now, but it's scaled back from what it used to be, from what I've heard people say. So, I get it. You want to be family friendly, but maybe give us starting at 9 o'clock instead of pushing it all the way back to 10 or 11, so you can work some more in.
I mean, at one point, Dragon Con had a hidden kink track. Those years are quite some years in the past, but I can remember it coming.
Hidden.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was in the program, but it was not a.
What is
kink
not like
track. They were just kind of
BDSM
scattered
101?
across.
What's that, Sven?
It was
BDSM 101?
Right, exactly.
I think that's what it
Bondage for
was.
beginners.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I remember one of my earliest experiences was doing the late night hentai dubbing panel.
Oh, wow.
It was hilarious.
That's
And
awesome.
I'll never forget the very first year we did it, the very first person who got up to volunteer from the crowd to dub vocally sounded exactly like Barack Obama. So imagine Barack Obama dubbing succubus hentai. It was the funniest thing I've seen in years.
I'd pay for that on Patreon.
Only at Dragon Con.
Only at Dragon Con.
Yes. Side note, if anyone from Dragon Con is listening, if you want to bring back the secret kink track, I may have a friend who'd be willing to be track director. That's all I'm saying.
I know a couple people who would love to be track director.
I think does he go by the name Mongoose? Is that it?
The Mongoose would love to do it, but again, he's training right now. He's training. Gotcha. Give him time.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for your suggestions and what you guys want to see this year. I'm hoping that all of our Dragon Con dreams come true and that we get a lot of that stuff that we talked about and more, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great fun talking all about our wish list. So thank you so much for that. Thank you, Sven and Bob, for joining us. We really appreciate you guys joining us here. Bob, where can people find you outside of Dragon Con?
TellsByBob.com or TellsByBob on all those social media platforms you know and love.
Awesome.
Or hate.
Awesome. And thanks again, man. It's great having you on. I hope to be on some panels with you sometime soon.
No, this has been a blast. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And Sven, we know we can find you, but what's happening? When do things start really cooking at the hotel?
Oh, I'm working on things right now. It takes probably 2 months to get everything produced, and then I'm going to have a pre-opening in 2 months where you can buy stuff, and it will be shipped in time for Dragon Con. A few things I would ship beforehand, but yeah. So in 2 months, I think we'll have a lot, and we'll have free shipping this year. So everything, because a lot of people buy several times per week sometimes, and they pay every time shipping, and that's like not very like helping it. So this year it's going to be free shipping for everybody till like a certain point. Yeah, that's what we do, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of Star Trek, Ghostbusters, Tron. We're changing it up this year. Or I'm changing it up.
Ooh, Tron's making a comeback this year. There's a new movie coming out, so
that too. Yeah, I think it's right after Dragon Con. I think. Well,
we still do it. That's awesome. That's awesome. I always love what you guys what you're posting and all the products you come up with. It's amazing, the work you do.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a one-man show mostly.
Well, we appreciate all the work you do, man.
Thank you.
And a big shout out to our station crew. Thank you once again, Channing.
Always happy to do it. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody who celebrates. I hope you did some good today in his honor. As always, you can find me on most of the socials at Channing Sherman. I'm on Blue Sky now and all. Twitter. I still don't do TikTok dances because I guess TikTok has risen from the grave. So that's always a good thing. So yeah, happy to be a part of it. It was nice talking to you guys.
Absolutely. And thank you, Jen, for working your magic behind the scenes. We hope you feel better soon. Of course, check out the Dragon Con parties, meetups, and more Facebook group. Jen is one of the founders of that. We try to cover all we can with these episodes. Keep up with the latest news. Please check out the official Dragon Con website, social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, all of that. fan tracks are active on Facebook as well. So get involved. You can get involved right now. I've seen posts from various fan tracks already that are looking for panel ideas. So start now. Check them out. If you've got panel ideas or things that you'd like to see, things that we talked about, guests that you'd like to have, reach out to those fan tracks because they can help make that happen.
Yes.
We are
indeed.
a proud member of the ESO Network. On the esonetwork.com page, there's a direct link to our TeePublic store filled with all kinds of cool swag, including a very cool design. Once again, Sven, thank you for the Dragon Con Report podcast. We also have a Patreon page where you can access our exclusive reading starting this month of Dragon Con guest announcements. Thank you, patrons, for all your support. Whether you're watching or listening to us, please help support our show with a like, subscribe, and a share. If you want to leave us direct feedback or comment on the show, email us at feedback@dragonconreport.com. Thanks to everyone for joining us. I'm your host, Mike Gordon, and as always, it has been my pleasure. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you all at the con.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dragon Con Report. Whether you're a longtime fan or joined us for the first time, we hope you've gained some valuable insights and tips to make your Dragon Con experience unforgettable. Don't forget to stay connected for more updates and future episodes. Until next time, keep learning, keep planning, and keep the con spirit alive.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.